Okay, guys. Today we are going to begin with the second step of our final project. The idea was to begin with this the previous Tuesday, but as you were with the presentations, with the speaking presentations, it was really impossible for us, and we are going to begin today with the second step. I am going to explain it to you. If you have any questions, you just have to let me know because you are going to have today to work on that. It will be really nice if we are able to finish today. But if we can't do it, we are going to use the first hour of Tuesday to do it. But it has to be clear today because we are not going to have like more time to solve doubts. I am going to share with you my screen. I am going to show you a forum where you are going to see the things that we are going to do. This is not the forum that you have. I mean, if you check Q10, you are not going to find that information in today's forum because today we had something else planned. But let's check this one. Well, guys, the second step, as I told you, is the creation of a guide to spot fake news. Do you remember what is the meaning of spot? This word? Yes or no?
Es como detallar, ver, darse cuenta que es una fake news.
Something like that, yes, like literally detectar. So that's what you are going to do. You are going to create a manual to detect fake news, to identify fake news, yes? The idea is that you need to give those tips in order to avoid people to believe in fake news, to prevent them, yeah? How are you going to do it? You are going to take into account, do you remember that at some point of our classes we watched a video where they were talking about how to spot fake news? So you can take that video into account, you can look for some information on internet, you can make a short or do a short research in order to be able to well to do this part of the final project. It's basically that the creation of a manual, but of course, as this is a manual, it has to be beautiful, it has to be well done. I am going to show you an example in order to give you some ideas to create your manual. There are three really important things that you must take into account. The first one is that this manual must be attractive because you want people to read it. And if it's not attractive, people is not going to read it, yeah? So, the first thing is to have a beautiful cover page, una portada muy bonita, a really good one. Tell me, baby.
Sorry, I don't understand very well what we need to do. I just understand that we are going to need to do in this our class manual, but I don't understand why. Well, I know about fake news, but I don't understand very well the structure of this manual.
I am going to show you some examples to exemplify this, but first I am telling you the things that you must take into account to create it. So, the first thing, Sophie, it's a manual to spot fake news. It's a manual where you are going to give some tips in general to identify fake news. Yes, if I read that manual, I am going to be able to know, for example, that I have to check the URL of a page in order to see if it's a real one or a fake one. That's an example. So you are going to give some tips, some suggestions to spot fake news, to identify fake news, to avoid it. Yeah? That's the main thing of the manual.
Okay, and this
Okay?
manual is to have a lot of pages, or we can
It's
do it
up to you. I am going to show you some examples. It is up to you. As this is a final project and as you are, I mean, I know that you are really intelligent and I really like when you have the opportunity to work and to decide on your own. So I am not going to limit this. If you want to create just one page, you can do it. If you want to create 20 pages, you can do it. I am going to show you some examples that will help you with this process, okay? So don't worry. But first, let me finish with the explanation. As I was telling you, this is the manual that you are going to create. It must be beautiful, so it must have a cover page, something like "Welcome to this manual to spot fake news," or I don't know, images, something like that. A cover page of your manual. Then you should have an introduction. The introduction is where you are going to write what people is going to be able to do. Okay, what people is going to be able to do with the manual. So you can say like, hello, in this manual you are going to find different tips to spot fake news that are going to be really useful, blah 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 blah. An introduction. As soon as you finish with the introduction, you can begin with your manual. You can begin with the tips. So, cover page, introduction, tips. Yes? I am not going to give you like a number of tips, like a number of suggestions that you have to give me, but don't forget that it's a manual, so it can be just like two suggestions, two tips, three tips, because it's a manual. So try to make it in a good way. I am going to show you some examples. Of course, this example is not about fake news, it's about another topic, like completely different, but I am going to show it to you in order to give you an idea of the structure, okay? Before
Teacher?
I do these questions,
Yes, sorry.
tell me.
When you tell a cover page, what is that? I know that we after that we need to do the introduction that I suppose that I write in that part what I going to do in my manual. I understand that and the tips, but I
Yeah.
don't understand what is
A
that
cover
that.
page? A cover
Yes.
page is, for example, this. Una portada.
Okay.
This is a
Okay.
cover page. So I am going to give you this example. For example, this manual is about comedy in classroom, inside the classroom. Yeah? So this is the cover page that I want to use. So if you realize it has images, it has colors, it is attractive, it is calling the attention of people. If you see this, you are going to say like, okay, I want to read it. I want to know what is this manual about. So you can do something like this. You can create like fake news or manual to spot fake news. Are you tired to read things that are not true? Blah 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 blah. You are going to decide. Or maybe you can just paste one image and to write fake news and maybe a question, or maybe you can write here a quotation, something like that. It has to be a cover page and it has to be attractive because this is the presentation of your final manual. Yes? This is the first thing that people is going to see to of your manual. So it will be really nice to have a good cover page. Questions up to this point? No questions?
Teacher,
Hi, tell
I
me.
have a question.
Tell me.
Um, this manual are presentation or
No, this is just the manual. You are not going to give me the speaking of anything. This is just the manual, so it has to be well done because I am going to check it, I am going to read it, I am going to share it with some other teachers, and we are going to check together. So it's not speaking, just the
okay,
manual. Any other question, babies?
okay. Um, um, we can use what hours in this day for the manual.
You are going to be working on this manual today, both hours. It will be really nice if you are able to finish it, but if I may be honest, I don't think that you finish today. I guess that you are going to use more time. So I suppose that we are going to be working on this today and the first hour of Tuesday. Yes? Because it's a bit long and it has to be well done. I mean, if you do
Okay.
something like really bad, you are going to finish it in maybe 30 minutes. But as I want you to do something really nice, we are going to use this class and maybe an hour of the other one.
Teacher, I have a question.
Tell me.
This is a manual tool for fake news.
fake news, to spot fake news, to identify fake news. Okay? Any other question, guys? Let's continue then. So, you have a cover page of your manual. Then, not on the cover page, I don't want you to write like fake news introduction. No, this is the cover page and that's it. On the next page, you can have, just if you want, this is not mandatory. If you want, you can have like the contents, but it's not mandatory. You can avoid this because if your manual is super short, you have to avoid it. But it is mandatory to have an introduction. Here is an example of an introduction. So you can say like, welcome to the manual or welcome to the guide to spot fake news. And then you write an introduction for the people, for the readers to know what are they going to find in this manual. So the introduction is really important. Tell me.
One is write me and he told me that his internet is bad right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, baby, thank you.
Okay.
So this is the introduction that you should have. Okay? This is just an example, but it's mandatory to have introduction. So cover page and then a short introduction to tell something to your readers. Questions up to this point? Well, I am going to show you different examples to build your manual. Like you can do, I am going to show you 3 ways that you can do it, but if you want to use a different one, you can do it too because it's your manual, it's your creation, so you are going to decide. The first example that I can give you is something like this. If you realize, I'm going to make it bigger, give me 1 second. If you realize one way of this manual is, for example, this one. You can have a title, like how to spot fake news. You can have a short description of this part of the manual, and then you can have tips. And you can write the tips like this, like tips 1, 2, 3, 4, and just like this. So your manual is going to be something like this: how to spot fake news online fake news, tips. The other one, how to spot fake news on the news, like on TV, and another tips, something like this. This is one option. So I have like another tip here. I have images, tips. It's basically tips, things to help people to spot fake news. So this is one way that you can use to create your manual. Okay, like title, description, and then just tips with images and beautiful. Another way that you can use is this one. For example, if you want to create just tips to spot fake news, a short description, and then tip number 1, this, tip number 2, this. It's important to give a name to each tip, not only tip 1 and that's it. No. For example, if the tip 1 is check the URL, it's important to write check the URL and then to explain it. Please give a name to each tip. So this is another way that you can use. Like a short title, really small title, a short description, and then a lot of tips. Another way that you can use is this one. I like this one a lot because it's easy and it's not a huge number of pages, you know? So you can say like, how to spot fake news, tell me. Questions, babies?
Sister,
Tell me.
I have, bueno, te voy a contar, es que no tengo la luz y no tengo internet.
You don't have
Soy de cuarto,
internet.
por eso es súper malo. Entonces, si puedas dejar la llamada y te entrego el trabajo más tarde.
I need you to stay with me since I finished with the explanation and you can go and work, but I need you to check all the explanation, okay?
Okay, teacher.
And please try to speak in English, don't
I have
forget
a
that.
question.
Tell me.
I have a question. Where do you recommend us to do the whole guide?
Well, actually, this one that I am showing you was done with Publisher, so it's like a program to edit and to create things. But for Canva is going to let you do something like this. I don't know if something like this, but maybe something like this, something like this. It can be done with Canva because that page has a lot of things. You can also do it, for example, in PowerPoint. PowerPoint is also a good option because PowerPoint is going to let you create huge pages, huge slides, and then you can save that as a PDF. So you are going to be able
Teacher,
to paste a lot of things and to write a lot of things and then to save it as a PDF and not as a presentation. So it's a good option too. Or if you know how to use a program of design, you can do it. But if you don't, so Canva, PowerPoint are really good options.
Okay.
Okay, any other question? Who's a teacher? No one else? Okay, if you don't have more questions, I am going to continue. This is the other example that I can give you. So, this is really nice actually because it has a lot of images that are going to help the reader to understand the idea in a better way, or at least to associate the tip with some images. So it is going to be nice. You can write like the title, how to spot fake news. You can write, I don't know, a short description. For example, if you are talking about fake news online, if you are talking about fake news on the newspaper, something like that, you can do it. And then what you can do is just to add an image, to write the name of the title, no, the name of the tip, not just tip one. So you can use image, the name of the tip, the explanation, and that's it. Well, here I have like some testimonials that you don't have to do that. So you just have to write like the tip, the image, and the explanation. This is another way to do it. And as I'm telling you, it's nice. It has a lot of images, and if you realize, it's just one page. It is like a brochure. Do you remember what is a brochure?
Yes, teacher.
What is it?
Brochure is like it's I don't know, is like you go to a new place, I don't know, like a hotel, for example, and there are like brochures when say information about the place, but in a short explanation, and it's good, funny, and in a way beautiful to see the person because have the most important information of the place that you go. Entonces, sorry. So there sometimes have like a map for the place, and you can go to different places in the same place. And that is like a brochure, a short
Yes.
kind of a place that in this is like, I don't know, for example, a hotel or something like that.
Yes, baby, that's a brochure. A brochure is like a piece of paper that is blank, que está doblado, where you are going to find different information related to a place or to something. Yes, that's a brochure. That's another way that you can do it. If you want to create your manual and it is going to be really well done in a brochure, you can do it too. So it's up to you. I am just giving you some ideas to do it. Yes? But the ones who are going to decide how to do it are going to be you, because this is your workshop. I don't know if you have any question up to this point or not. So, Samu, can you please tell me what is the guide that you are going to create about? What is the main topic of this guide?
fake news.
Fake news. And what about fake news? Is a
Like
manual to do
to
what?
what?
Is a manual to do what with fake news?
To identify the fake news.
Very good. So it's a guide or a manual to identify, to spot the fake news. Martin Segura, do you have a limit of pages or something like that?
And
I mean, I gave you a limit
I don't
of
know.
pages or something like I said you have to create 5 pages. Did I tell you that?
third days, three. Really?
Nope. Actually, you don't have a limit of pages. You are going to
Oh,
decide because as I don't know how are you going to do it, I can limitate that. So you can do it in this way and it is going to be just one page, or you can create like a magazine, for example, if you want to do it in that way, in a program to create magazines. So you can create like a magazine where I pass the pages. It's another good option too if you want to create a space of magazine. So you are going to decide how many pages, how are you going to do it. You don't have a limit, you just have to fill with the requirements. Okay? Daniel, I told you that you should have three important things. What are those three important things? Danny,
Um, Teacher, I don't know. I don't.
you're not sure? Okay. Who can help him? Who remember the three important things?
Is the introduction, the cover, and the tips.
That's it. So a cover page that it must be really nice, an introduction, and tips. A lot of tips, as much as you can. These tips has to be like should have a good explanation. If you want, you can include something like examples for so you can do something like this. Give me 1 second while I find it. Something like this. So maybe you can have like examples of fake news, and you can paste examples of fake news to exemplify the things that you are saying in your manual. So you can do it like this. You can use like these boxes in order to say, for example, here you can see that it's a fake news because it has this. Yes, you can explain it if you want. So cover page, introduction, tips. Do you have any other question up to this point? Sophie, how many times are we going to have to do it?
You tell us that you believe that we are not finished today, so we have the 2 hours of today and an hour of Thursday.
That's it. That means that this must be done by Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Okay? The idea is to do all these things inside the class and not to use external times to do it. Okay? So on Tuesday, the idea is to have this done and to begin with the idea of our sketch, because I want you to be able to record your sketches like the entire next week, and that's it. Any other question, guys? No more questions?
Teacher,
Tell me.
dice que falta como que tarde.
Yeah, you're really late.
No, pero no acaba de llegar, llega hace como 10 minutos.
Try to speak in English, don't forget that. Do you have are you confused with this?
No. I understand the activity.
Uh-huh.
Create
A guide.
a guide and late create, no, o sea, crear una portada y luego la.
You are going to create a guide to identify fake news.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is, pero eso no es lo que te pregunta.
Tell me.
I don't know. Let me think. Look, I can say it in Spanish.
Try to do it in English, at least half of the idea. Even if it's a Spanglish, try to do the things that you know how to say in English, please.
Okay. Why do you dejas so much work?
Because this is the final project.
Yeah, by the other final project is not a sketch, a guide, a virtual guide. Yeah, you.
Well, this is a final project that we are going to be doing in 3 weeks. This is just week number 1, so that's the reason why you have different steps to create your final project. And actually, with all those things of virtuality, the final projects had changed a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
So we are going to be developing this step by step, but this is the second step, baby. As I told you, it is important for you to be able to recognize this. Why? Because in this case, you are going to have tips to identify fake news. As soon as you record your sketch, you are going to, to create all the situation and you are going to act it and to do it and that's it. But at the end of the sketch, you should be in front of the camera giving us these ideas to spot fake news. Like, in order, don't forget that to avoid fake news, you can do this, and this. And you are going to know it because you have done this manual. So as I told you maybe the previous class, this is all a chain. Todo es una cadena. Everything is connected. Yes? This is almost the last step before beginning with the recording of the sketch. And you are going to have more or less a week and a half to record that sketch. So that's the reason why, baby, because we have 3 weeks to solve this project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has to be like really well done. And I know that you can do it. So, any other question, guys? Well, if you don't have more questions, we are going to begin right now, like 15 minutes this first hour, and we are going to continue on the next hour. Don't forget, guys, that this seems like a lot, but you are going to be doing this in the hours of class. So you are not really using external times to, for example, to create this manual, because it will be homework and I don't want homework. I want a project of class. So guys, if you don't have more questions, I am going to stop sharing my screen now and you are going to begin with the workshop, with the activity. Okay, babies?
Okay, teacher.
Go ahead. If you have
Uh,
questions, just open your microphones and let me know. It's because of your internet connection, right, Lau? So you can do it, but just if you are working on the things that we said. And I want you to, if it's possible, I want you to be here on the next hour. Okay? So go ahead. Keep working.